Hey everybody, today's video is about alcoholism. And the DSM-5 came out and they changed a lot of the terms when we talk about alcoholism, and now it's called alcohol use disorder. How do we diagnose it and what are our treatment options? There are a lot of different alcohol-related disorders. I'm going to read, as always, from the DSM, if I can get it off the table. Ta-da! And there is alcohol use disorder, which we'll talk about today. Alcohol intoxication, alcohol withdrawal, other alcohol-induced disorders, kind of like part of the EDNOS or OSFED of eating disorders, and unspecified alcohol-related disorder. So there's kind of two little buckets at the end that we can see things might fall into if they don't quite meet the criteria for the disorder we're talking about today, or the other two, intoxication and withdrawal. Since this is a diagnosis and it's in the DSM, I'm going to read to you a little bit from the DSM so we can get an idea of how it's diagnosed clinically, and that may give you an idea of whether you or someone you love is suffering from it. So alcohol use disorders is a problematic pattern of alcohol use leading to clinically significant impairment or distress, as manifested by at least two of the following occurring within a 12-month period. Everything in the DSM is going to say it has to be to clinically impair your level of functioning, or some phrase like that. So always keep that in mind when you think about diagnoses or diagnosing yourself. If you're impaired in your daily life, chances are it's probably an issue and you should probably reach out for help. That's like the base of how we know we need to get some support and some professional help. So with regard to alcohol use disorder, like I said, we have to have at least two of the following in the last year. The first, and there are 11 of these, so I'm going to try to get through them as quickly as possible. First is alcohol is often taken in larger amounts or over a longer period than was intended. I like the word intended. So we may, I'm just going to go out and have a beer with my buddies, and it turns into like 6. And we didn't mean to, and we don't know how it happened, and it's bad. 2, there is a persistent desire or unsuccessful effort to cut down on alcohol or control its use. So we try not to have as much and we can't. 3, a great deal of time is spent in activities necessary to obtain alcohol. This is the same when it comes to like drug abuse. People will spend a lot of time doing things to either get money for the alcohol or spending time with people who they know will have alcohol at their house in a party later. And so everything we do in our life is kind of like focused on that one goal, getting alcohol. 4, craving or strong desire or urge to use alcohol. This isn't like, oh, on a Friday, oh, a margarita would sound nice. This is like, I need a margarita and I need it now. I need like 5 of them. The cravings are intense and often can't be denied. 5, recurrent alcohol use resulting in a failure to fulfill major role obligations at work, school, or home. This goes back to that impairment, right? We have it's impairing our functioning. And that is something that we should all consider. If we're having trouble maintaining friendships, getting stuff done at work or school, it's a problem. 6, to let my other hand up. Trust me, I know how many. This is 6. Continued alcohol use despite having persistent or recurrent social or interpersonal problems caused or exacerbated by the effects of alcohol. So we have trouble in our relationships. 7, important social, occupational, or recreational activities are given up or reduced due to alcohol use. I think this is important too. If we can't get out, if we don't, we used to go to yoga, we used to go for walks, we used to do things, maybe play intramural sports. We used to do all sorts of things, and we don't because of our alcohol use. Either we're hungover or we're too busy drinking to do any of those things. 8, recurrent alcohol use in situations in which it's physically hazardous. That could be I'm drinking and driving. That could be I'm jumping off the roof of a house into a pool. It's really dangerous, and it was because I was drunk. If we're doing things that are really hazardous to ourselves because of the drinking, that's also really scary and definitely a problem. 9, alcohol use is continued despite knowledge of having a persistent or recurrent physical or psychological problem that's likely to have been caused or exacerbated by the alcohol use. So even though we know things are bad, we really just can't stop. 10, tolerance, as defined by the following. Tolerance meaning a building up of the amount that we can tolerate. That's why tolerance. The first is a need for markedly increased amounts. So like, oh, it used to take me 3 beers to get drunk. Now it takes me 6. A marked diminished effect with continued use of the same amount. Same thing, right? So 3 beers used to get me nice and buzzed and yay. And now it's like 6 or 8. 11, and the final is withdrawal. And this is really scary. And this is why, before I even tell you about this, I want to encourage all of you, not even encourage, just like, please, 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 please push you. If you worry that you or someone you love is struggling with alcoholism, we don't want them to stop without the supervision of a physician. Going to a hospital to do detox. There are actually detox homes around LA. I don't know, different cities and countries will have different things, but they're like places that there are physicians and a 24-hour supervision where we can detoxify safely. Because number 11 says withdrawal. We'll have withdrawal syndrome for alcohol, or alcohol or closely related substance such as benzodiazepines is taken to relieve or avoid withdrawal symptoms. So we'll take it because we start feeling really shitty, we'll drink more or take something else to try to help alleviate the feelings of withdrawal, because it can be really terrible. And it's really scary. There are things like delirium tremens, which you can look up if you're curious. Things that our body can do as we're withdrawing from alcohol can be really, really physically dangerous. So please don't just quit cold turkey and think that's the best way. Talk to your doctor. Maybe we have to check into a clinic for a couple of weeks until our body is okay and we're safe and we can start working on our recovery. Now, I know you don't need me to sit here and give you all the reasons why drinking is bad. I like to drink socially. I'll have a couple of drinks with friends or a margarita or a glass of wine or whatever I feel like. But that's all in moderation and within a reasonable amount. And I want you just to be aware of the fact that increased use of alcohol and alcoholism can lead to complete organ failure. All sorts of things, kidney, liver, it can lead to heart attacks. A lot of people die from it. I know you're aware, and I don't believe in scare tactics, but I just feel like in this video, I have to at least let you know it's very dangerous, and there's a whole bunch of pages in the DSM dedicated to telling us how medically this can affect us. Now, the treatment options for alcohol use disorder are very similar to drug addiction and also eating disorder treatment. And the reason for that is because it usually requires some kind of inpatient or hospitalization. Like I talked about initially, if we're detoxing, we're going to need to be in a hospital or a detox house. From there, we can be transported or moved into like a hospital situation or an inpatient where you sometimes live in like a house. There's like usually 6 or 8 beds. There's people 24/7. You have therapy all the time, group therapy all the time. They take you to and from AA meetings if that's something you want to do. But that's usually kind of, I'm stepping down from like the highest level, right? We start at detox in a hospital or a detox house. Then we move down to like an inpatient care. Then we a lot of times do day treatment and live in like a halfway house. Like they call them recovery homes or therapeutic housing, all sorts of different terminology. It really just gives you like a safe place to live with other people working on recovery so you aren't triggered, by others in your life. That I'm sure if you were an alcoholic for a long time, a lot of people in your life still drink, and that can be really hard. And so we kind of titrate down into outpatient, like just seeing a therapist like myself and regular checkups with our doctor like normal. Other than that, we go about our lives. There are also things that we can add into this, like group therapy, like AA and NA if it's narcotics. But as far as alcoholism, AA is something that a lot of people prescribe to. That's totally your choice. You don't have to. I know a lot of programs push you to that, but just consider the support that it could give you. I really like the idea of having the sponsors because that really helps us when we're having a hard time, have someone to reach out to who's been there and knows it. And there's no judgment. I really like that fact, just like our community. So look into things that are available. Also, AA is worldwide, which is awesome. And if you yourself are in a relationship with someone or have a family member who has struggled with alcohol use disorder, I cannot recommend Al-Anon enough. Al-Anon is amazing. It's like AA for the family, because the thing that a lot of people don't realize is when we're in alcoholic relationships, even if we don't drink, we have our own set of characteristics and struggles because of that relationship. And we do certain things to kind of deal with it. And so Al-Anon can be really healing for the family and the friends who struggle with it because of that person. And there's Alateen if you're young. So I'll put all of the resources down in the description, but please, please, please reach out for help sooner rather than later. Like I said, it's really hard on our bodies and it can be really detrimental to our health. And I love each and every one of you and want you all to be healthy and happy, right? Healthy mind, healthy body. So if you've been watching my videos for a long time and haven't clicked subscribe, I'm really curious why. But click over here to subscribe. I put out videos twice a week. And for more information about things like this, click over here. And if you want to find more information about me in general and what I'm doing in my regular life, click down here to follow me on other social media sites. Bye!